I'm Dave Cathy, the Food Dude here at the Oklahoman Studios. Today I'm here with Bruce Buechner from the No Name Ranch. Bruce, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for making the trip all the way up from Wynnewood.
It's a long ways.
Yeah, and you had to paddle out partially a
yes,
little bit?
We had a canoe on top of the truck.
Good. I know it's been a lot of rain, but I also know you guys needed a lot of rain, so...
We are thanking God for full ponds
and
a lot of grass.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, you got to have grass when you have grass-fed beef, right?
Right.
Well,
we're more than grass-fed.
I know that's true.
We're
I know
more
that's
than
true.
grass-fed
But I know
beef.
that grass means a lot to your operation. So.
And with the drought we've had the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, we are thanking God for a wonderful, wonderful future this spring.
That's right. That's right. So you've got a very unique sort of story. But I mean, how you came to be a cattle rancher? I mean, that was never your intention, right?
No, it was.
I mean, weren't you in horses for a long time?
Oh yeah, it wasn't horses, but we had cattle all along.
Okay.
I mean,
but you fell in love with. Tell the story about how you came to find Wynnewood and Oklahoma and everything.
Well, we used to live in Pennsylvania, and we were in the horse business, and we used to travel out here to pick up horses to take them back and sell them back there. And we got tired of traveling, and we liked this area so much because most of the horses we bought were in the Wynnewood area.
I see.
So one day I told Joan we're going to go out and find a place out there, and we came out and found No Name Ranch, and that's 43 years ago.
A little before the gas prices went up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we found a nice acreage down there, and we started with some cattle and with the horses and continued with that. But we got into the Pinzgauer breed of cattle. They're a breed of cattle from Austria, and they are unique in the fact that in Austria, they pasture in the winter in the valley, and they go up to 15,000, 16,000 feet in the summertime, grazing on the hills of the Alps. And we loved them because their meat was being served at the finest restaurants in Europe, and the kings and the queens of Europe demanded that they wanted to eat Pinzgauer beef. And that's the market for Pinzgauer over there right now. And we loved them, and we went into a program of trying to get them from Austria to here. And that involved shipping semen to Canada because we couldn't bring them into this country. And everything just evolved to the point where today we have one of the largest, if not the largest, herd of Pinzgauer cattle in the country. Yeah,
they're lean. I mean, that's kind of, I mean,
they have all the things that people want today.
Right.
They want low.
Usually you associate lean beef with less flavor.
Right.
But not in this case.
Not in this case, and tenderness.
Yeah, right.
But this breed has extreme tenderness and very lean beef. And about 16, we started selling beef to private people. Wholes, halves of halves.
Yes.
Not quarters, but halves of halves. And it developed real well, and I went to a beef symposium at OSU, the same beef symposium that Kurt Fleischfresser went to. And
as luck would have it.
Yes, and we happened to sit at different ends of the room, and we were asked to stand up and say what we did. And he got up and told us that he was involved in the Made in Oklahoma and all the restaurants and all this. And I got up and told him that I was a Pinzgauer beef cattle rancher. And as soon as the session was over, he came over to me and says, "You and I got to get together."
Fleischfresser needs Pinzgauer.
That's exactly. And by the way, he had been researching it, and really, he had a thing he gave me that he had been researching the Pinzgauer breed and so forth. And of course, that's been 15 years ago. I don't know how many.
And of course, Kurt is the coach house, and now at Vast and Irma's Burger Shack, which you're pretty well. You're in all his places, right?
All his places.
Yeah. So yeah, No Name Ranch beef is available here. Talk about some of the places where folks can find it.
Well, we really select
Yes.
the people that we do business with. And we got together with Kurt, and of course he wanted Coach House. And at that time, he was involved in other restaurants, the Metro and some of those other ones. But today, we have a hard time supplying because we're continuing to grow, and we sell breeding stock besides, so that cuts down on the beef that you sell. But we sell to the Coach House. And by the way, Irma's Burger Shacks are because we sold the steaks and everything.
That's right.
Because you got a lot of burger.
That's right. He had extra beef from buying beef from you.
Right.
And like, we need to do something. So somebody
there's that many steaks
yeah.
in a steer, and there's that much burger.
That's right. So he wasn't going to sell burgers at the Coach House, so let's make a place called Irma's.
Right.
That's right. And so we thank you for that.
Oh, it's been a blessing. We also do, of course, the Vast, and that's an interesting story because when they first opened their restaurant, they wanted our beef. And we just didn't feel comfortable at that time about doing it. So we didn't. And then, of course, when Kurt took over Vast, it was the time for us to do it, and it worked out perfectly. We do a lot of business with the Red Pin Bowling Alley and the Basement Restaurant, Lobby Bar. We do things for the tasting room. We have for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years now done the meals for the Myriad Gardens. And that has been a very exciting thing for us to do. And then Kurt had that wonderful fundraiser for the Philbrook Art Museum in Tulsa. And they went crazy over our beef up there and the way that they prepared it. So it's been that. And of course, our private beef sales for people's homes, it's still a major, major part of our business.
I know that's important to you too.
It is. And you know, people need to, we love people to go to the restaurants, but people are going to eat at home. They're not going to go to restaurants every day. So they might as well be eating No Name Ranch, all natural. And that's a key thing we haven't talked about. Our beef has no steroids, no hormones, no antibiotics, no pesticides, no animal byproducts, no chemicals of any kind.
Grass and grain, right?
Right. Grass-fed up until they're about 800 pounds. And then we put them on a grain ration for 100 days, and believe me, it's excellent.
I can attest. And you know, before we started shooting, we were talking about the health benefits. And this is something that, and I've known you for a while now. You always talk to me whenever we talk about how you feel like it's really important for people's lives because you're selling something you can attest is good for you. Talk about, you know, the recent checkup you had. I think that's an interesting story.
Well, just to preface that a little bit, people need to be very conscious of eating healthy foods today. As you know, the population of the world is exploding. There is more and more demand for food, and the people raising it through the universities and all the things that are being done is production, mass production. Well, when they do that, they use chemicals, they use things in their growth of the plants, animals that are, we feel, not healthy.
Right.
And today, a steer that you would go through a feedlot would have 4 implants of steroids or hormones. Way too much, and that has been shown to pass to the animal, therefore passing into people. Kids are a little bit heavier now because of eating
there are definite signs. There are definite signs that there's issues.
Yeah, and we wanted to keep everything pure and clean. And so we decided that was going to be permanent with us. With the grass-fed up to 750 and the grain that we use, it makes for a lean product. Most people don't know this, but the marbling that is in beef, 87% of that marbling goes to energy, not your waistline. It's the outside trim fat that goes to your waistline.
Interesting.
And it's exciting for us to know that when we kill steers, it amazes us because we don't get a lot of that outside trim fat.
Yeah.
Our fat is in the marbling, and that's energy.
Right.
And I need energy, and you need energy. I got kicked by a horse about 8 weeks ago, and had some pains in my chest. Wanting to be concerned about it. We have a number of doctors that eat our beef because of the health aspect. I got a name of a heart surgeon in Norman that they said was the best man you could go to. When I went to him for a stress test, went through the stress test, he said, awesome, no problems with that, but I still had the pain. And he said, we need to make sure that we check into this further. So he did a cardiac catheterization on me on Tuesday, 3 days ago, at the Norman Healthplex Hospital. And he came out to my wife after it was over and said, your husband has pristine arteries and valves.
Yeah.
No sign of plaque whatsoever.
And this is somebody 75 years old.
75 years old.
With a history of high cholesterol.
And I've always had high cholesterol and never taken a drug or a statin or anything to reduce that. And we eat beef 6 days a week.
6 days a week of beef.
6 days a week. And
I think that pretty well says it all, don't you? I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right?
I agree. Yeah. And that to me is very...
And you know, and it does taste great. It really does. What you guys make, what you guys produce down there is really premium. And after we're done talking here, we're going to go over to the tasting room and we're going to try some of that stuff. Jonathan Groth and his team have some stuff lined up for us, and that's going to be really great. And I'm glad he's doing that because I know I don't know how many people he'll be introducing to your product, but hopefully there will be a couple.
Oh, he said that there will be over 40 people there.
Yeah.
And by invitation and everything. And we just get excited about other people knowing about our product. We also get excited about the beef we sell, but we also know that there's a limit to what we do. We enjoy our ranching outfit. We're about 1,000 acres there in Wynnewood, and we have grass pasture land that's very excellent, and the cattle do absolutely marvelous. And Pinzgauers are wonderful that way. They're very healthy animals. Yeah. And we don't have to worry about doctoring them or passing something on to the next group of people that eat it.
You know, talk a little bit about how folks can, what's the best way to get with you and talk about a beef program that you can work out with folks out of their home?
No problem. They just need to call No Name Ranch.
Okay.
Our telephone number is very easy to remember, 405-665-4001.
And we'll flash that on the screen.
And people just need to call us, and we work with people on an individual basis. We cut beef according to the way that people want it done. Most people like the way we do it, but we are very versatile in relation to that. The exciting part is it is the same beef that the restaurants are serving. We don't go and say, well, that animal is not quite as good, that shouldn't go. No, it's the next animal goes to the people or goes to the restaurant. It doesn't really matter. We do all of our processing, and this is, I think, exciting, Dave. We are truly a made in Oklahoma product. Everything we do comes from Oklahoma. All of our feed comes from here. Our hay comes from here. Our land's here. Our processing, we process in Edmond, and we distribute all of our beef from Edmond. And even though we live in Wynnewood, but everything is here in Oklahoma.
That's what we hear a lot of people talking about keeping it local and sustainable practices, and you've been doing it for a long time, so I'm sure you're happy to hear people at least talking about it.
We're 27 years now into serving the beef to the restaurants and to people. That's a long time.
It is.
And we don't fudge with what we do. We are a ranch that we are the only people in Oklahoma that have a protocol filed with the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture. And Dr. Barnum did that years and years ago with us. He said, you need to file a protocol. That tells everything that you do with your beef, and it also allows us to test any of the carcasses for what you say is not in them. And we welcome them testing our beef. And Dr. Barnum, he just recently retired. It was a wonderful man. And he just recently retired after 49 years. And he went around, he helped us launch our beef years ago. And he went around and said, No Name Ranch has the healthiest beef in the world.
Wow.
I said to him, I said, are you sure you want to say that? I said, maybe we ought to just say in Oklahoma or in the United States. No, he said the world.
Interesting.
He said, I've been all over the world, and you raise the healthiest beef. And by the way, all of our beef gets eaten in Oklahoma, gets raised in Oklahoma, gets sold in Oklahoma, and it stays in Oklahoma.
Interesting. I wonder, I was going to ask you if you sold anything outside the state, so you answered that. So there you go, Oklahoma. Bruce and Joan, they have got you surrounded, basically, with information. And if you don't believe anything they're saying, they're daring you to test them on it. Because,
absolutely.
And I love that. I love that you're transparent about it. Transparency's been an issue in Oklahoma here. They've been debated a lot. Here's living proof that transparency works.
And we're thankful to Kurt Fleischfresher because he has never had anything but a great word to say about our beef. And he has told us numerous times that, boy, I had one of your steaks this past week, and he takes them home. And he said, boy, it's the best steak I've ever eaten. And he goes all over the world.
Absolutely.
It's an exciting thing for us to have someone like that. And his whole group is that way. Patrick Williams, who's the chef up at the top of Vast, there, he is just elated with the product, and he's using all the cuts.
Yeah, and he's from Kansas City.
And he's from Kansas City, and that's right. And he said, boy, we don't have this in Kansas City. And so that's exciting. But he's using all the cuts up there, and he's making all different delectable dishes that is just exciting us because it's expanding further from just steak and burgers.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Well, Bruce, thanks for coming up and seeing us, and as always, it's a pleasure. Looking forward to getting down there to Wynnewood. I've got a plan.